Come on, Vogue, Jamie.
Whoa.
Oh, we are in a good mood here. Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. This is Total Spotfest. I am JJ. That is Jamie. That is Austin. We are coming back at you. Boys, it is that magical time of year. Wrestling is just off the charts. You got big show after big show. Fall's coming around. You're going to have even bigger shows in the fall. Winter coming around. Plus, we have actual, real, honest-to-God football going on. Tomorrow's the official start of the college football season. We're about 10 days away from NFL. It's not going to be 95 million degrees starting this weekend. Let's go.
No, he has 98 today or whatever.
Well, I know. I was working on my car this afternoon, and I about melted into it.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's a very good time of year. I got to catch some of the week 0 college football last week with Florida State and Georgia Tech.
Banger
Solid
of a game.
I don't give a shit about either team, but I just enjoy football, so it was worth the watch. And a nice little foreplay for football kicking off proper this weekend.
You know, it'd be
Tomorrow,
cool.
actually.
It'd be indeed. You know. Plus, KU is starting too tomorrow, but Mizzou, of course, is the big show, you know, locally for us here. It would be cool as hell to go to Dublin to watch your team play a football game. Just say.
It would be. Did y'all catch any of the pre-show for that football game with former WWE champion Sheamus on it?
Yeah, I saw all of Sheamus's picks. Awesome. Yeah. Sheamus nailed it, man. Everyone's picking Florida State, and he's like, nah, I gotta go with Georgia Tech. Nailed it.
I watching that, I just like to assume that Sheamus does not give two shits about American football, but he'll show up and just wildly make picks anyway.
But that sounds like most guest pickers that they have on College Game Day, to be fair. Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. If this is your first time here, please hit that like button. Hit the subscribe while you're down there. You know, you want to see when we go live, get a little bell. We're going to talk here in a few minutes. We're going to have another show we're going to plug in soon because we heard from a few of you. We still got some spots left, though. Total Spot Fest.
We do.
Fantasy Football League. We're going to be drafting next Tuesday. You know, we hope to get it done this weekend, but too many moving pieces couldn't happen. That's okay. So Tuesday evening we will be doing our draft. Rob's here. Rob's in the fantasy football. So
Rob's in there as the Rowdy Pipers.
The Rowdy Pipers. Austin still needs a team name. What do you have any thoughts, Austin? While we're going to put you on the spot live for team name.
So my only issue with naming my team is because we're doing the ESPN league. They won't let you just upload an image. You've got to link it from the web. Which, like, everything I try and link doesn't work. What I was wanting to do was call my team the Enforcers and put a picture of Arn Anderson as my logo, which I still may do if I can figure out how to make that happen.
Oh, dude, I could teach you how to do the link.
That's really not that hard. You just go, okay.
I just need a link that will work. Because, like, I tried 8 of them, and it wouldn't save it for whatever reason. But that's where I'm leaning.
There's a couple really simple tricks that after Jamie tells you, you're going to be like, really? That was it? You know? Okay.
Right click, inspect, URL.
Done.
No, but that's the thing. Like, I right clicked, I got the URL, but when you paste into ESPN, it'll even pop up in the preview. Then it goes to save, and it's like, we can't use that image for reasons it doesn't tell you.
Yeah, it's too big. It has to be a 10 by 10.
Yeah. So I gotta do some playing around, figure it out. But that's where I'm leaning for the team name.
Okay, that's a pretty solid one. Rob's name is fantastic. Not gonna lie, the Roddy Pipers. Very golf clap to that. Jamie and I. Jamie, you sticking with Tiger Driver 91?
No. I just put that in there just as a placeholder. I will be unveiling my team name on the draft.
Ooh. Jamie prides himself. First of all, if you're new here, Jamie prides himself on a lot of things in general.
Proud person, yes.
He's a proud man. But he, up there very high on that list, is his ability to give creative, funny, and somewhat borderline team names for fantasy football teams.
Oh, they're not borderline. They're full on wrong. It's fine.
I was trying to be
like a badge of
PC.
honor.
Yep. I went full troll this year. I took Jamie's favorite move. I put it into a team name. So I am the Heat Seekers. Let's go.
Solid. But you're missing the most important piece about this draft.
Oh, Jesus.
This draft will be held Tuesday night. And yes, we will stream it live on here with us making our picks, talking that trash, having a good time, making our picks. Okay? So if you are going to be in there, obviously come into the chat here. We'll be making our picks. I'm trying to see how we can like put up the draft board so it shows everybody. You know, we need to figure that one out so we can like stream everybody's making their picks because they will be going to flying. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're into fantasy football, if you're into this show, you need to tune in Tuesday night.
And while we're doing that, we're going to have NXT going on. We can't broadcast it, rights and all that stuff, but we'll be watching it, talking about it while we're doing our picks. So if you're watching NXT, pull up your laptop, pull up your phone, put us on there. We can go side by side.
You know, I haven't played any of the wrestling games in some time, so I don't know if this functions there. But if you can fire up 2K and do a 10-man battle royal, we should throw everyone's character in to determine the draft order. Just sim the whole thing. First one eliminated picks last, all the way down to the winner gets to pick first.
That would be hilarious.
I'm gonna look into it because I think it's on like I've got PlayStation Plus where you can play some of the old ones for free. I'll see if it can be done, and if so, I'll see if I can screen record it, and then we can throw the video up at some point. No guarantees. I'm gonna try and make it happen though.
Dude,
Yeah.
that would be sick. Like actually have it hooked up and like we'd stream it, and then right after that concludes, we could start our draft. Like that would be great.
I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna see if it can be done. I've got Fire Pro
Everybody gets to
Wrestling on
pick
my
a
computer.
character?
Let's see if I can do it on there because Fire Pro's dope.
Okay.
Ladder match. It has to be a ladder match. Or no, I guess if there's 10 people, it has to be a battle royal. You can't be
Yeah,
a
no,
10
battle
person
royals
fight.
because like then you have people getting eliminated, so you set the entire order.
That's true. That's true.
Very smart.
I do like that.
Well,
We'll see. I'm gonna see what can be done. We got 6 days to figure it out.
6 days. Nothing major. No pressure.
okay, so Rob says he has
3-day
practice.
weekend. I got nothing else going on.
Rob says he has practice till 9:30. So we were looking at doing it around 8-ish. But again,
They have a
we're
fantasy cast. We're good.
say what?
They have a fantasy cast.
Okay.
So like when you're in your draft, we can just do a fantasy cast of the draft.
Yeah, I know. You do you do a screen capture of the I already know how to do that.
Well, not
so-
just for us. Like they actually have a thing like not just us, like the entire board, like the big board, not just our stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the board when you go to the NFL draft and the main screen's got the big board out front. It's like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Rob said he has practice till 9:30. So we were looking at doing it around 8-ish.
But we figure it out.
We will figure it out. Please stay tuned. And we want to use this time to let you know that since we're not doing the draft until Tuesday, anybody that wants to get in, you got a couple days here to get in. Okay. So we've got some people that, some friends of the show that we can definitely get in to hop into the draft, but we want to give priority to those of you who are watching or listening. So if you want to be in our fantasy football league, it's free. We're not doing this for money, just for bragging rights. There are a couple of incentives involved with it. We'll talk about that once we get going in league. Hit us up on Twitter at Total Spotfest. Make sure you friend us on Twitter, follow us, whatever it is, and then hit a DM. Send a DM to @TotalSpotFest. Yeah, we'll talk about this weekend here, Rob. We'll get it figured out. Okay, so, but yes, hit us up on Twitter if you want to be involved. If you're in chat right now tonight, speak up and say I want to be in the league, and we'll work it out. But got a couple more days. Like I said, we have some people that we can definitely some friends of the show, but we want to give priority to those of you who are listening and or watching.
Hell yeah.
So, God, I'm ready for football. I'm so ready for football.
Same.
Cannot
What a
wait.
glorious time of the year.
It is. And not only is it a glorious time of year because there's football, like I said, there's also amazing wrestling going on, including what happened this past weekend. Now, let's get some housekeeping out of the way because we're going to talk about All In just a moment. But as you guys know, all the more important than the pay-per-views themselves is our competition amongst each other to be the champion of the picks of the pay-per-view.
That's right.
So we had to wrestle that belt away from Megan Faulkner's dorm room. So the four of us put our picks in. I woke up nice and early, made myself a breakfast pizza, some hot coffee, strapped in, and had a wonderful time watching wrestling. We'll talk about the pay-per-view in a moment, but picks. So as is usual per the case, we duplicated a lot of the picks, okay? So we all picked the Young Bucks to win the tag title match. We all picked Jack Perry to retain his TNT championship. We all picked Mercedes Moné to retain. We all picked Mariah May. We all picked to win the women's world title. We picked Will Ospreay, all of us, to re-win the international title. And we all eventually picked Bryan Danielson to become AEW champion. Why did Megan have... She didn't originally have that. Was that just a mistake? Or
Yeah, she put Swerve in there, and she goes, I don't know why I put Swerve. That's exactly what she said to me. I don't know why I did that.
Okay.
That's just dumb.
Okay. It's the same. So it's simple. Yeah. It's like, hey, I just finished this. I fucked it up. Cool. We fixed it. Easy peasy.
That's why I put it out there. Hey, we're changing it. So there's no shenanigans.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. So we differed. We all were the same on the London Ladders trios match where we all picked the patriarchy to retain, and of course they did not. We all missed on the gauntlet match 100%. Even though three of us had Moxley and Megan had Hangman, it didn't matter because who had Christian Cage in their back pocket? Tony Khan. That's
anyone saw that coming.
I'm gonna put a pin in that because I want to talk about that match extensively. So we had a bonus. This is our first time doing a bonus point in there. And we're going to start doing this every pay-per-view because this is a fantastic idea. The way we did it, too. It was Austin. Austin brought this up. Let's do a prop bet in the middle of our picks. Like, fantastic. So the bonus point was for the number of entries in the gauntlet match because of the structure of the match. It could be 2 people or it could be all 20. Somewhere between that, though, that will be a finish. So how many people would have entered the match when it finishes? Okay. Austin had 8, Jamie had 9, Megan had 10, and I had 12. I hit it right on the head there. I was feeling real good with myself on that match. Less good than I was on the FTW match. Go ahead.
The last few gauntlet matches have had 9. That's why I was like, I'm gonna go 9. And damn you, Ricochet.
I figured pay-per-view, I would go 1 less because I thought they would tighten it up a little bit, but they.
And I went the other way because it's pay-per-view. I thought they're gonna have a few more bodies out there.
I'm glad they did. I'm not sad about being wrong on that pick. But yeah, we'll talk about it when we get into the pay-per-view proper.
That match is going to have a lot of talk. Now, like I said, that made me feel real good. It made me feel especially good because I'm the only idiot who didn't pick Hook to win the FTW title. Picked Chris Jericho. So that would put us all in a tie, or it would have, if we didn't include the 0-hour match, which we did. Will Nightingale, Tomohiro Ishii versus the Michael Jackson, remember the time adorned, spine-busting wrestling god of Stokely Hathaway and Chris Stanlander. Now, the three of us all picked Willow and Ishii. Megan picked Stat and Stokely. And that meant that Megan is out. She is no longer your champion. She never was my champion, but she's no longer your champion. So.
That's true. That's true.
Comes down to the tiebreaker for between the three of us. Okay. Time on the AEW title match. I had in there 23:42, and I do want to just point out, when Hanger came out and interrupted, and there was that Busaiko knee immediately after with that close fall, that was right at 23 minutes and 42 seconds. I almost peed my pants. I was like, it's going to happen. No. Okay. I had 23:42. Jamie had 24:18. And Alex had 28:34. Time ended up being 25:59. So, if you do the difference, your winner and new all total Spotfest pay-per-view pick champion, Jamie Faulkner.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This beautiful belt did not have to go very far. It stayed within the FWO. It stayed where it belonged. It stayed at home. And I will have a illustrious title reign of a minimum of 10 days. Minimum.
A minimum. Because that's when we're doing it again.
Right.
Yeah, that's all right. I wasn't even after that pay-per-view. I couldn't even remember who I picked for half of them. Like, I just enjoyed the pay-per-view so much that, belt or not.
All right, so let's talk about pay-per-view. Favorite moments, boys.
All of it?
It was so good. Well,
I mean, other than Britt and Mercedes, but
I was gonna say there's a couple of Britt and Mercedes and the Jack Perry. Here's the thing. I'm glad that at least the Jack Perry and Darby Allin match was as short as it was. Because it was just kind of a train wreck of cacophony, which I generally like. But it was just like, whatever, let's just get past this. And I'm glad it was only like, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, something stupid like that.
See, I'm the exact opposite on that. I wish that match would have got more time. And a story came out earlier this week that they did cut some time off that match because there was a curfew in the UK for the time. Like, they had to be done with the show and people getting out of the building or something.
Yeah.
That match to me reminded me of Matt and Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania 25, where I expected a lot more and it just seemed a little too short for what it should have been.
Yeah.
Because, it basically ended up looking almost like a squash. Like, Perry just kind of beat the shit out of him and threw him in a casket.
I mean, it is a typical Darby Allin match.
Except there was no comeback.
Yeah. I think 5 more minutes on that match and Darby getting some shit in on Perry would have made it a little bit better. But you're not going to take away from your main event. And you kind of get up against it. You got to cut some time. It is what it is. Probably save some years on Darby's life by not making it longer.
I mean, you had plenty of time you gave to, because you had to give plenty of time for Will Ospreay and MJF, and my God, Will Ospreay. I mean, it's a broken record at this point. Every single match he's had, we've pontificated about, especially his pay-per-view matches. But I mean, the man's gimmick is after Assassin's Creed because he's such a fanboy. He has Assassin's Creed tattoo. He gets an Assassin's Creed sponsored entrance, voiced by like the character from the fucking video game. That's cool.
Ezio.
Exactly. I couldn't remember. It is something Italian. Yeah. He better be a DLC downloadable character in this new one that they have, the Japanese feudal Japanese one that's coming out.
Yeah, the shadow assassin.
He better be a downloadable character.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing top to bottom was amazing, but the overarching question, gentlemen, is AEW just a pay-per-view company? Because I can't really think of a pay-per-view in recent memory that just missed. You know what I mean?
What's up, Clint?
Like,
yeah, pay-per-views don't miss.
Are they just a pay-per-view company? Like I mean, WWE is more theatrical and everything, and they're doing a great job right now. Which again, we'll get into that in a little bit. But when I pay my $50 once a quarter or whatever, or my $84.99 because I had 2 pay-per-views in 2 weeks or whatever it is. And then I get a link like 5 minutes after I do that. But their pay-per-views time and time again have been excellent, and all in 2 consecutive years have been legit WrestleMania quality events. They've been spectacles. They've had amazing moments. Gentlemen, do you believe that they are, like, in the narrow scope, a pay-per-view company?
Yeah.
Basically.
This show reminded me of what WrestleMania used to be like. For me, anyway. Even as good as everyone said this year's WrestleMania was, which it was good show. Last year's was good 2 nights of wrestling. WrestleManias for the last probably decade or so have kind of just felt like another night. There might be 1 or 2 bigger things that like big blow-offs or something, but it feels like another stop on the tour, another pay-per-view. This, and a lot of it was just kind of the vibe. Like, you got the outdoor show that starts, with the daylight out, which is always a cool effect. But this just, like you said, the spectacle of it, it just felt like a big deal. And this had that effect that WrestleMania used to have for me, where like this is the most important show of the year.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad in a bottle statement to put out there, Jamie. If you're gonna come out and say that WWE is like the more polished wrestling, entertainment brand, then yeah, in the same vein, you could say AEW is the company that puts on ridiculous pay-per-views. A happy birthday, Clint, by the way. Yes, thank you very much. Our friend Clint is in chat. Everybody wish Clint a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Clint.
I don't think that that's necessarily... I mean,
the dark side. He's thinking AEW.
Yes, we're bringing him over. But, I even said that, later on that evening, I was it was in a friend was on Twitch streaming. I pop in, and he's a wrestling fan too, but he's more of a WWE fanboy. And he goes, "I was all in," and I go, "It was amazing." But then again, this is the company that puts on ridiculous pay-per-views. It was ridiculous. It is kind of what they're known for, but that's not a bad thing either, because all your programming is geared towards that show. And we've talked a lot about this. I mean, Austin, you specifically in the past 6 months have talked a lot about this. How much their storytelling, their longer term storytelling, has blossomed and improved, right? Why is that? Well, they're gearing for making killer pay-per-views. So they built the stories up for that, which is fine.
Yeah, and to that point, it seems like in the last year, so maybe just this year, but kind of through the end of last year up till now, they've done a better job of their pay-per-views primarily being blowing off stories they've been telling on TV, and not always just here's 10 of the dopest matches we could throw together with like a few weeks of storytelling behind it. Which I ain't sad about that either. Like every pay-per-view they've ever had has been awesome. So like there's no wrong answer there. But going back to all it, like most of the things on that card, not you, Hook and Jericho, felt important. And even Hook and Jericho, they had a story they were paying off. But it just
There was a story.
It felt like there were big moments throughout the pay-per-view that were paying you off for watching the weekly TV.
And it started even before that. I mean, you had stuff on the pre-show. You had a couple of matches that were just like thrown in there, whateverness. There was a 6-man tag, or an 8-man tag. There was a 15-man tag. There, I don't even know. They what was it? It was like it was a 10-man tag, wasn't it?
No, there was there was a 16-man tag and then a 10-man tag.
A 16-man tag. Anyway, but gotta get bodies on there. You got the return of Jamie Hayter on the pre-show in a way that one of us pretty much nailed, as far as what would happen. There's your stamp.
Yeah, I would like to solely take credit for it, but I did see someone tweet that out. I was like, yeah, that made sense. Saraya's going to come out saying she needs her Wembley moment, and Hayter's going to sponsor her. I did not expect that on the pre-show.
I pressed the wrong button for a second there. I apologize, but it's on the right person now.
I wasn't expecting that on the pre-show, but I'm kind of glad they did it there because it already took away from expecting Jamie Hayter in either of the women's matches on the show and letting them kind of stand on their own, which one did and one not so much.
How good was that women's title match? Let's talk about that, boys.
It was
the women's world title match.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say something. I want to talk about the power of Mariah May.
Okay.
She had the power. Go with me here. She kissed Nigel McGuinness on the forehead, right? He came out of retirement, and when he came out to Oasis, and right after that, Oasis said that they're getting back together. I mean, if that's not saintly, I don't know what is.
the magic
Saint
of pro
Mariah,
wrestling, man.
God bless you, Mariah May. Our Lord.
I mean, God bless you, Mariah May, because today.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that, but I mean, this is a woman that first of all, Toni Storm is Toni Storm, right? And the two of them worked fantastic together. The crowd was hot for it. Mariah May bitch slapped her own mother at ringside.
Hard.
Like broke an eardrum hard, It was like, pow!
Yeah, going back to what I was saying about them being better about their pay-per-views, blowing off things you've been watching on TV. Mariah May and Toni Storm absolutely delivered on the kind of match you would expect after a story that's been going on this long.
Yep.
Like you couldn't have wanted anything else out of that.
And that one, I mean, we've already talked about MJF and Ospreay, same, right? And that was amazing.
I mean, Danielson Swerve was absolutely insane.
Oh my God, just
everything about that match was perfect. Like I can't think of one bad thing about it.
No, even the little near run-in by Hanger didn't have a really. I mean, everything was perfect.
It is very rare for us to say Will Ospreay had a match on a pay-per-view and it wasn't the best match of the night.
True.
I don't remember the last time I said it.
Yeah, I think that has to do with the limitations of the other half of that match. And not that MJF isn't as competent and capable in the ring as you could ever need someone to be. But like the Ospreay matches, and the match was great. So I don't want to take anything away from the match at all. But those pay-per-view topping Ospreay matches, it's always in there with someone that has that kind of match. And that's not necessarily MJF's wheelhouse.
Well, somebody that does have that kind of match made his debut in AEW during the Gauntlet match, which was Probably the most fun match, I think. I love the ladder match. It was chaos in the best way to open the show. But that gauntlet match, unbelievable. Nigel McGuinness, you already said Nigel McGuinness in there. Okada doing just Okada things, right?
The walking meme, Okada. Can we just call him the walking meme?
Yes, God bless you. Like, we all were like, I don't know how Okada's going to do on weekly American. No, he's fine. It's perfect. It's perfect. But you had Nigel McGuinness, and you had Ricochet. Ricochet makes his debut. I mean, it was we all knew it was
How
going to happen.
dare you not mention the highlight of that match? The best wrestler in that match. The best wrestler of all time. Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Dude, when his
Coming out
music
to the
hit,
huge pop in Wembley,
said
too.
the tear thing is like, no.
Dude, how is Double J one of the most over man in England?
That's over as Big Bill. Did you hear the pop
y'all
from Big
see?
Bill?
Did y'all see Big Bill from Collision?
Dude, Big Bill could have run for fucking Parliament, man.
Man, Big Bill is the best. I mean, Double J's the best, but Big Bill's up there.
Well, we've sung the praises of Big Bill for a while, and he's getting the fruits of the labor, I feel, so. But no, Jeff Jarrett was in that. Jeff Jarrett was fantastic in that match, and Hanger was in there, and of course you had Christian come out. That match was just a cacophony of. I love. And we said this for the first time it happened. I think it was last December because it was like at the end of the year, wasn't it? It was like their Jacksonville shows like in December, Christmas time. I don't remember, but we were like, "What is this weird match?" And then we saw the match. And we go, "This was amazing. I want more of this match." And I love it that we got on a pay-per-view. It was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and I love that it's a gimmick you can throw on weekly TV when you need to, or you can throw it on pay-per-view, and it'll deliver either way. There's some stuff, and AEW does a pretty good job of even doing their kind of more elaborate gimmick matches on TV and still making it good. But just the sheer randomness of it, you could throw it on a Dynamite, have 8 people come in for a mid-card title and still have fun with it. Or you could throw it on pay-per-view and just absolutely load it with all the talent you have laying around.
Well,
have one of the best pay-per-view matches ever.
I mean, Jamie, it's so hard to take, because this is basically a variant thereof, battle royal-ish. It's so hard to take a variant match and give something fresh, right? I think the last time you really saw that, because War Games, slash, Blood and Guts, that's been around since the 80s, right? Battle royals are battle royals. You have the double ring battle royal, okay, right? I think the last really like variant you had, this is even being dated now, is the King of the Mountain match, from old school TNA, which was like a reverse War Games of sort. It was really weird and convoluted, 18,000 different rules, but it was cool. It's really hard to get a new gimmick match in there. And this, while it's not revolutionary, it's simple enough of a difference that it works, right?
Yeah, it allows you to use the things in pro wrestling that you kind of you got to suspend your logic and belief for a minute and just go along with, like the random intervals. They're clearly just timed for big moments in the match, but it works. Like they come out ahead of time. They're like, hey, the first 2 start, it's X amount of minutes. After that, random intervals, someone runs out. So you're not sitting there waiting and timing it exactly. It's just every time something's about to happen, boom, there's your countdown. Someone else comes out. Oh, so
yeah, like it was hilarious. Like there was one that was like 3 minutes, and then not even 15 seconds later, they had another one. Like 3-minute break, boom, boom. It's like okay.
I think it was after Roddy came out. I think Roddy came out, then it was like 20 seconds later, someone else came out.
Yeah. Like it was like right before him was somebody big, like Nigel. No, what Nigel? I forgot. It was Hanger when Hanger came out.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that in the year of our Lord 2024, there would be a major pay-per-view in Wembley Stadium and Christian Cage would be in 2 gimmick matches on it?
Not 1, but 2.
And win one of them, While in that match, part of his competition included Jeff Jarrett and Nigel McGuinness.
What a time
And
to be alive.
Ricochet. And Hangman.
Ricochet. Yeah.
And
That match was absolutely stacked.
That match was so much fun.
And the last entrant was Luchasaurus, which I thought was great. He came out as Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus, yes.
And the pop was unreal. The pop was unreal. Oh, and then he, of course, went to
turned.
And that just goes to show just how great Christian has been in AEW.
Oh my God, he's so good.
Because that's something that you would almost expect to be a letdown. Like, no one assumed Christian was going to be in it. It's for a shot at the title. We just saw him wrestle Swerve a few months ago. But Christian has been so good that he wins that match. You're like, all right, I'm good with wherever this is going because Christian just rocks.
I mean, it's been a long time since he ate crow over this, but Jamie, famously, when Christian came over here, your first words were, don't care. Like, what does it do for me? You know?
He has proven me wrong.
And
I've gone on record multiple times.
And you have. And you absolutely have. But when he first came over, that was the thought. Like, oh, Christian. Right. Sure. Whatever. Right. Speaking of which, there's one last moment from the pay-per-view I wanted to talk about. So tag team match was fine. It was kind of what we expected, right? It was a good fun triple threat match, you know. You had, the Acclaimed, big pop for the Acclaimed, FTR and Young Bucks in their Sgt. Pepper's fight.
That was great.
Oh.
That was. I mean, I'm not a Beatles fan, so it was perfect for me.
It was so good. So after the match, out comes the grizzled young veterans who have been in AEW a little bit here and there, but not really exclusively, right? But they
they'd had like a match on Ring of Honor or something, but they hadn't done much.
Yeah. So it's not like this is their debut. But anyway, they come out, decent sized pop. I mean, they are British.
Yeah.
And Jamie posed a question, which I want you to repose to not just us, but the world, Jamie.
Yes. So I posted this in our little Total Spotfest chat that we have, and I said, let me find it. Are the Grizzle Young Veterans a big enough shot in the arm to the wailing tag team division of AEW? And I use the word wailing because they have been not so hot. Are they a big enough shot in the arm because they are losing, the Lucha Bros? Things have been just kind of whatevs. Is this the shot in arm they need?
Probably not, but maybe. I definitely think that them showing up after that match looked better on paper than it did in execution. And it's cool that they're a good tag team, and the more good tag teams you have, the better the division is. So that's why I say maybe. I don't think it seemed like that big of a deal that they showed up on the pay-per-view when you're only 3 tag teams you focused on that the crowd really gives a shit about are there. But maybe we'll see where it goes from here. And we'll get into Dynamite later. They showed up there as well. So there's some direction for them. I don't think enough people give a shit about them yet. But I think over time they could prove to be a really good addition.
I'm going to take from our barrel of answers, and I'm going to take yes. Here's why. While I am recognizant to the fact that the Grizzled Young Veterans have only truly ever been over whenever they've been in part of a British variant of a promotion, NXT UK specifically. I know that.
Okay.
They come to NXT America, and I was like, whatever, right? They go to TNA, people are like, sure, right? All that aside, right? They are talented. They have some questionable fashion choices, but they are talented.
One dude wears a diaper.
That's what I was looking for. And they are a definitive tag team. So, are these guys going to win the tag titles and then people are going to lose their ever-loving mind and buy 8 million t-shirts for them? No. But can it be the glue that solidifies the tag team division instead of just being 2 or 3 teams at a time in a puff of smoke? Yes. That's my thought, right? Much like FTR is kind of that same sort of breath, Grizzled Young Veterans kind of fit that mold. They are a definitive tag team here for tag team things. And they want to see more tag teams. And if they go on that kind of stance, that holier than thou, it might not win them the crowd completely, but I think the work will be good for the tag team division.
Yeah, if we get Grizzled Young Vets versus FTR at All Out, I'm already more invested in the tag division than I have been in a minute. So,
Thank you.
it's a step for sure.
So allow me to be Debbie Downer on this. I'm going to take the stance of no, they're not going to help because they are basically the British version of FTR.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? What's not to like?
People have already seen it, and I feel like that's not going to go over well because it is not a shot in the arm. It's what they know. You know, it's like, and for you and me, it's great. Like, I love FTR, and I can watch, like, I mean, the fact that they did Shatter Machines, and then they did an assisted Shatter Machine with one of the
Max
Acclaims,
Caster,
which was really cool. Yeah, like, dude, like, there's all sorts of just great moments, with him. I love FTR. Don't get me wrong. I don't want this to come across as FTR hate because it's definitely not. I'm just saying that they're essentially the UK variant of FTR, and I don't feel like that's going to be a big enough change because they are losing one of their biggest tag teams, and I think that's a major blow for them. Like, either they sign somebody that is new, different, or they create it. Kind of like what they did with the Acclaim. The Acclaim made their name because of raps and just people love the whole scissoring thing. Like, people just gravitate towards that. It's like they need a tag team that can do that. And also back it up, not necessarily full on back it up in the ring, because I think they just needed that more instant gratification. And I don't think you're going to get that out of the GYV. I just don't.
So I don't think it's a lack of talent issue. They have a lot of good tag teams signed. I think it's just a focus on the tag division and getting back to just having dope tag team matches on the regular. And if they go that route, I think the tag team division will rebound in a couple months. It's just Bucks won the titles, and even kind of before the Bucks got the titles, it was getting kind of stale, but they haven't made the tag division a focus. And we're only a year removed from Bucks and FTR and Bullet Club Gold going an hour in one of the best tag matches of all time on Collision.
True.
Like, we're not far. They just have not focused on those titles and just good tag team wrestling. But they've got the teams for it.
And to be fair, wrestling in general is doing a bad job right now of focusing on tag teams for the most part.
That's
Because
fair.
the other place, the tag division is not any better.
No.
At all.
But, hey, since you brought up the Bang Bang Gang, can we all just talk about Juice Robinson for just a hot second?
Bless you.
I love Juice Robinson.
Our patron saint of
he literally did the Macho Man on the way down. Like, how can I love him anymore?
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure this out.
I still want to be a fly on the wall for a dinner at his house, him and Tony Storm's house. It's probably the most boring thing ever. They probably get in the door and it's just like the Cleavers or some shit, but I don't think so. I think with those two, it's, oh my God, that's a sitcom waiting to happen right there, guys. Fuck
Sure.
Roads to the Top. Give me Tony Storm and Juice Robinson's household. That's some crazy shit.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Before we move on from the pay-per-view, do we want to talk about the TBS title match?
It happened.
It sure did. It sure did.
Okay.
So
I will say one. Let me say one nice thing, and then I'll let you go, Jamie.
Okay.
they did have a bad draw coming in right after Will Ospreay. So there is that.
That's on purpose.
Go. Oh, and okay. Mercedes entrance, fire. Corgis killed me.
Yes, her entrance was great.
Her entrance was great. So, Mercedes, love you. I think you're talented. I just don't think you care about wrestling anymore. I feel like her matches have been boring. Like, not even WWE level. And that finisher that she's using, like, yes, I say I hate the Heat Seeker. This is easily climbing up the ranks, gentlemen, as arguably the worst finisher of all time.
It's gotta go.
And
it's gotta go.
I think she needs to go back to the bank statement, whatever she has. Like, that was so much better. I know that she doesn't want to use it because Britt already has a submission, so she wants to be different. And I appreciate that she's respectful to the other women in the locker room. I do like that about her. But I will say that match, Britt did not carry that match. I think Mercedes carried it more than Britt, but I still feel like Mercedes is not doing, like, she's not Sasha Banks. Like, she's not that level anymore. I think either she doesn't care, or maybe, you know, the way it's I don't know. Like, I am confused, but I was left wanting hard, and I had low expectations.
So just to make it clear to everyone watching and listening, the overdrive is the worst finisher of all time. And if you don't know what that is, that's that thing. Randy Orton did it for a while. MVP did it for a while, where you grab your arm, put your leg over their head, just kind of flip them over. But Mercedes finish is a close second. Although in theory it'd be dope if someone could actually hit it, would do it. It would be pretty cool.
Okay, if Big Bill had that as his finisher, it would work because he's big enough to make it work. I hate to be. I'm not trying to throw stones, rocks at a glass house or any bullshit like that. But I'm sorry, you're not the right size person to be pulling that type of move off, especially if your competitor Mercedes is the same size or bigger than you. Physics will not allow it.
Yeah, the finisher is rough. Outside of that, though, I'm gonna hard disagree with Jamie.
Ooh.
On the point that Mercedes doesn't seem like she's in it anymore. Outside of the finisher, which it's just she keeps doing it. It doesn't look good. That is what it is. I thought she was trying her ass off to make that match good, and she was lugging around a sandbag for a solid 10 to 12. I watched a match, one, kind of to follow up on JJ's point. I thought if that match would have been in Tony and Mariah's place, if they would have flip-flopped, I think it would have come across a little bit better because you wouldn't have already seen so much good wrestling and then just kind of got that. But I watched that just as someone that's been in the ring and just seen people that just have no chemistry and don't really want to be working with each other. That just very much seemed like Britt did not want to be working with Mercedes Moné. But I thought Mercedes was trying her ass off to do what she could to make that good. Like the Three Amigos, Britt did not jump on a single one of those. It was bad. Just sandbag. And Britt is better than that. I know she's not widely regarded as a Bryan Danielson or Zack Sabre Jr. type, but Britt is not terrible in the ring, but she very much looked like someone that was not trying in that match.
I don't disagree because I said, like, she was not, like, Mercedes was the one who was in charge in there, but still, like, even in her other matches, like, I guess maybe I'm just too high of expectations for her, maybe. I don't know. Like, I might own a piece of this, just to be honest, but, like, Britt did look like shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'd love to sugarcoat. We're like, oh, she's back. She's in a much better place and all this. And in this match, she did look like she sandbagged. Like, it just did not look like she cared at all.
No, and, like, to go back to Mercedes, it was only 6 to 8 weeks ago. We watched her and Stephanie Vaquer go out there and have a very good match.
Oh, that's true.
Like, Mercedes still has it. We came out of Forbidden Door saying she still got it. But sometimes you're limited by who you have to work with, and that was kind of the case at All In.
And let's not forget, too, that Mercedes did spend a year off after injury. Previously than that, she wasn't very much full-time. She worked some Japan stuff, had some time off for Hollywood, post the whole walkout, whatever, with WWE stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, for what it's worth, she doesn't have the constant track record ability that like Willow Nightingale or Stephanie Vaquer or hell, even Sky Blue up until she got injured, right? I'm throwing that name out there just because of the amount of work that she did, right? Her in-ring stuff, you can practice all you want. And from all of us, we've all played sports. One of us is actually a professional athlete, entertainer of sorts.
Of sorts.
Yeah, but Jamie, you played college football, right? You can get out there and you can block and you can rush your teammates as much as you want. Does it really matter when Saturday comes? No, because that's where you get the real experience, right? Against somebody who's not being there and whistle, stop the play, move on. No, you got to go against full timers. I don't know why she would
Rob asked
sandbag.
the question. Why?
I don't know.
Rob asked, "Why would she sandbag Mercedes?"
I just think that she's more rusty than we think.
I feel like she's still jilted. I feel like she feels like she's a bigger star.
I can appreciate that.
I don't know.
I mean, I can understand that. Yes.
Yeah,
I don't
know. I don't know if I would call that rust. That just seemed much more like I was the big name here. I'm not anymore. I'm going out there and more or less cleanly putting over this new person that just came in, and she was just kind of boo-boo faced about it. That's the vibe I got. Because I've been on plenty of shows where I've seen someone that didn't like the person they were going to go out there and put over. And I'm not saying that's the case. I don't know one way or the other. I wasn't backstage. I don't know these women. I'm just saying that looked very much like what I've seen on shows in the past. Just random wrestling shows around the country where someone was a little salty that they were doing the favors for someone they didn't particularly like. And they just kind of mailed it in. That's what that looked like to me.
Okay. Well, All In is going to be in Texas in July next year, gentlemen. We did get two other big announcements. AEW will return to London next August, though, for Forbidden Door. I like this
AEW
a
New
lot.
Japan present. I like how it's AEW and New Japan. I like how they're going with that.
And they didn't stay as Wembley. It's probably not going to be. It's probably going to be the O2 Arena or something, right? Which is fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. Like you said,
that's exciting.
Austin, don't do the same thing every year because you're just going to...
Yeah, and the British wrestling crowd is always a fun crowd when you give them a good show.
So good.
Whether it's, 50 or 80,000 people in Wembley, depending on the year you run there, or whether it's a smaller arena. They're a great crowd, so I'm glad they're getting another pay-per-view, and especially one that's international in nature anyway. I'm hoping they work a little bit more of the British and European scene into Forbidden Door next. It kind of like we were talking about when Forbidden Door came around. We've done the same thing 3 years in a row. Let's make it different. This is a good opportunity to make it a little bit different. Showcase some wrestling from somewhere else in the world.
Maybe even
more.
I mean, you can also showcase some wrestling from Australia, or you can just do it in February for the Stadium Series in Australia. AEW's first Down Under show.
Down Under.
That should be a good time.
Yeah.
For sure.
And again, they don't miss on big shows anyway. But like, give us a big show with an international crowd, it's gonna be wild.
All right. Well, we spent a lot longer talking about All In than I thought we would.
Shocker. I mean, it was amazing.
It was.
This weekend there is another international pay-per-view as Bash at Berlin is going on. And
Which the theme song is by Baby Metal and I can't think of their name now. The one that I tried to get you to listen to.
oh
shit.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
So while he's looking that up here.
Oh, there it is. It's Electric Callboy. Yes.
See?
Oh,
Giving
that's
you,
really good.
giving you some dividends there, Jamie.
See? I liked them before they got big, bro.
All right. So what you guys been thinking about Fed recently? This past week?
So to keep up my theme of the last few weeks, I've been tuning into Raw, and I'm trying to keep a positive attitude, point out things I like, which there was this week, and it's the same thing it's been for the last few weeks. Love what they're doing with Bronson Reed. Love Braun Breaker.
Yep.
Week in and week out, that's always just interesting TV to me. The Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed match, if you haven't seen it, was just a fun meat battle. Just two big ass dudes slugging it out. I'm sure if anyone's on social media at all, they saw the tsunami off the wall in the parking lot on top of the car. That was super rad. We got another Braun Breaker promo, and his promos get better and better every week. He is almost up there to the Scott Steiner level. It'll take some time, but we're getting Steiner promos, and those are never a bad thing. Love those. I could have done without seeing the same CM Punk and Drew McIntyre segment for the 8th week in a row, though, because it's literally the exact same segment every time.
That was literally my argument to them going into, SummerSlam, is that it's literally the worst build-up ever, And then again, they're doing it again. And it's just like, well, yes, they have an angle here with the whole bracelet thing that they're doing with, they got McIntyre. It just makes me not care, to be honest with you. I really don't give a shit anymore.
Every week, one of the two comes out to cut a promo, the other one runs out, they fight for 20 seconds, and Drew McIntyre runs away through the crowd. Rinse and repeat, trot it out next week. So that's gotten a little stale. But I do also really like they're doing a tournament for the Intercontinental title where it's 4 triple threat matches, and the winner of each goes into a 4-way to find out who's going to face Braun Breaker for that belt. I enjoy that they're involving a lot of their mid-card guys into a tournament to fight for the mid-card title. Make that thing seem important, have people fight for it, and give me wrestling on a wrestling TV show. So, as I've been saying for weeks, there are some points worth watching. There are some points where it's just the same old WWE, but not the waste of time it was for years and years and years to tune into Raw.
Yeah. I'm having more fun with NXT right now than I am with Raw. And again, the superior show, at least in my not so humble opinion, is SmackDown. SmackDown is really good right now.
Yeah, I think the back half of SmackDown last week. And it was all right. It kind of seemed like they were just spinning their wheels to get to the pay-per-view a little bit, but still more wrestling heavy than Raw is, which is never a bad thing. Real big fan of Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes going for the title this weekend. I always love me some KO, which since we're on the Fed and bringing up KO, apparently he did not sign an extension and his contract runs out early 2025 is the rumors going around.
Interesting.
Yeah. I could see him going to AEW.
I hate to be
It's the same thing we said last time his contract was doing the same thing. But
I
you're
hate
not
to be
wrong.
the one that every time someone's contract's up, like let me see him jump ship. But if anyone from WWE were to jump to
Oh.
AEW, it's Kevin Owens is the one I want to see over
I mean,
there.
it's the original him and the Young Bucks, right?
Yeah.
The original Elite. You know, you're gonna go way back before the Elite was even the Elite. NXT is my favorite by far. Now, I think it's because it's pretty much, and we talked about this earlier, Jamie and I did, you know, it's pretty much TNA on WWE programming almost. I mean, you end the show with Joe Hendry doing his song. Super over. Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page this Sunday. We talked about that. How about Rosemary showing up on your network television wrestling show?
I did not have that on my bingo card.
I'm glad it happened though, because I have Rosemary, Courtney Payne. She busted her butt for years, right? And never gets the credit that she deserves, right? Good wrestler, fantastic character work. Some of the best character work you can do, right? I'm so happy. Yeah, I think it's an inevitability, Rob. Rob asked if the sale of TNA is still happening. I think it's an inevitability. It's going to at some point.
Yeah. Whether it's sooner than later, TBD, but TNA is getting sold eventually.
And WWE's buying them.
Yeah.
Easy.
Which, if anything, just for their library. Which, if you can get the TNA catalog on Peacock with the Fed stuff, I ain't sad about it.
That's a good library to get, especially when you get that like 02 to 09-ish, you know?
Yeah. Like there's that is nothing but a good thing for that to happen. I still have yet to tune into NXT. I really need to.
It's good, dude.
It's good.
That's what it's for me. It's getting invested in a show where I don't know who most of these people are in terms of their story. Like I've seen none of NXT, so it's just starting fresh with something where I have no frame of reference. Obviously, I know who a lot of the talent are because I've seen them pop up places and but yeah, one of these days I'm gonna tune to NXT.
I will say, we've talked it up to before. You know, you're convinced, but I will say this: there are certain people in NXT who have long-running, you know, things that are much more successful than I would have ever originally thought. The whole Chase U thing, right? The University of Chase, right? It's so much better than when it first happened. I go, okay, who is this Joker with his own name on a T-shirt? You know, but it works. JC Jane, adjacent from that, she was just kind of the other girl in Mandy Rose's stable, right? She is a future women's super megastar. I'm throwing that out there. I love me some JC Jane. She has got it for WWE for sure, right? I don't think she has wrestling chops to do it, but I mean, she's fantastic. Sol Ruka, Jamie's a massive fan of Sol Ruka, and deservedly so. This woman can do ridiculous. She's like Jeff Hardy in '96, right? How is that possible?
Who's the North American champion? Is it Oba Femi or something like that? The brick shit house guy
Yes.
that does crazy stuff?
Dude, he's huge.
He's
I
big,
like what I've seen out of him.
but he doesn't move like he should. It's like young Samoa Joe or, you know, shit, Bronson Reed, right? You know, it's like, but he's a big son of a bitch.
Yeah, like there's a lot to like. For some reason, I was talking about last week, like Tuesday nights, just watching wrestling never
I hear you.
dawns on me. But I really need to start catching up on some NXT because, yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Before we
I'm
venture off from the Fed, though, they did open up Monday night with a short memorial to my favorite big man of all time and many people's favorite big man of all time. One, Psycho Sid, who we lost on Monday. Just Psycho Sid had a way of just connecting with people just because he was so fucking cool that it didn't matter what you try to do with him, he was always over. I don't think anyone else in the history of pro wrestling has gotten cheered more for beating up guys you were supposed to like than Psycho Sid. You go back to the 1992 Royal Rumble where he eliminates Hulk Hogan to thunderous applause from everyone in the stadium. To him going into Madison Square Garden, getting cheered for beating super babyface Shawn Michaels. Psycho Sid, one of my personal favorites of all time. So pour one out for an absolute legend.
Now, do you recognize him by his other moniker at all, the Sid Vicious?
I do not, because I was first introduced to Sid on his 95-96 when he showed up for the second time in WWF. That was kind of my age range. I had saw some of the earlier stuff while renting VHS tapes, but like I didn't get to see NWA WCW Sid earlier on until much later. Like for me, my first introduction to Sid was Psycho Sid, late 95, coming and joining the $1 Million Corporation.
Okay.
And then leading into his 96 run where he took the title off Shawn Michaels, which was just
fantastic. See, and for me, I'm more familiar with him as Sid Vicious, you know?
Yeah.
But he still was who he was.
I got used to him from both sides, but would you, I think without hesitation, I think if it wasn't for him specifically, I think he doesn't get enough credit for revolutionizing the modern big man. Everybody wants to give it to Nash. Nash didn't have the same physique. And, like, I don't know. Like, I felt like he had more pizzazz than Kevin Nash. I mean, I love me some Kevin Nash. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like he does not get enough credit for the modern big man. Like, I feel like when I look at Big Bill, I see Sid. You know, when I see some of these other big guys, I see Sid.
That's how, because you had early Sid doing leg drops off the top rope. And like Sid, legitimate as big of a man as a big man could be in pro wrestling, he did not work like your traditional big man. Kevin Nash, like you were saying,
he was a traditional big man.
the stand tall, don't leave your feet. Sid would go out there and do whatever with whoever. It wasn't quite on the same lines of some of the stuff we see Big Bill doing now, but to your point, I do think he kind of revolutionized what you could expect a big man to do, because you knew he was 6'9", 6'10", whatever he was, but he didn't necessarily just stand around like a statue like your Andres and your Big Shows. Although early Big Show did a lot of cool shit.
Dude, the Giant,
he did missile dropkick,
like WCW Giant. First of all, one of my favorite gimmicks of all time, the smoking giant. He just chain smoked the entire time he was on TV for no reason.
Come out, pick somebody with a cigarette still in his mouth.
He stopped in the middle of a match to light up another cigarette one time. This is on network. This is on TNT, ladies and gentlemen. But no, I'll give you that, because Kevin Nash was your prototypical big man smash when he's in the ring. He was charismatic as hell outside of it. I think that's where he gets the notoriety, right? But even at that, I mean, Sid had passion. Like, I remember some of his like promos from like, especially around '92 when he was getting that big push, sweating his ass off back there talking to Bobby Heenan or whoever was interviewing him, and just going to town. Hogan, it was so good. It was so underratedly good too. I don't think it's appreciated.
Speaking of his promos, Sid destroying the barbershop, having a can of shaving cream explode in his face, and continue to cut his promo and not sell it at all was one of my favorite things of all time. Along with, and if you're on Twitter at all, you've seen this floating around, but the video from late stage WCW where Goldberg crushes his car and he runs out. He's like, Goldberg! And he's jumping up and down in his crushed rental car. That's what I loved about Sid. So many of the big men in this business, they take themselves too seriously. They can never be fun because they've got to be a big monster. Sid was he was always pro wrestling at its most fun. Sid just looked like a pro wrestler in this crazy world with these crazy characters. He might have been one of the craziest.
Well said. Well, rest in peace, Sid.
He will be missed.
Jamie, we got Dynamite still to talk about.
And there's a lot that happened in it, so we gotta make this bridge, boys, because it's already 11, and I gotta be up at 5:45 in the morning.
Yeah, let's get to it. Well,
All right.
start with the easy question then, right off the top. Go. What the fuck is up with Jon Moxley?
I'm loving it.
I think I do. I don't know.
It's very Vincent of him. You know what I'm saying? Of the righteous.
I have a lot of optimism for where this is going. I thought it was a real awkward way to start Dynamite.
Yes.
It should have been more in the middle.
Yeah. It was just because it kicked off the show and you're like, why did he just tell Tony Schiavone it's not his company anymore? Did he confuse the Tonys? Like the other Tonys that run the place.
I was like, oh, that's one too many concussions. Oh shit.
It seemed like a very awkward, and I think a lot of it just came in the execution. Like the new music hits because it's not Wild Thing anymore, but you see the barbed wire on the Tron. You know it's Mox. Like you see the Tron and commentary kind of being confused. It was just a very confusing start to Dynamite, which might be what they were going for, but I think in execution, it was just kind of awkward. But I have no doubts that this is going somewhere very entertaining.
It was. I am in the camp that I'm gonna wait and see because I trust Mox.
I'll give you that. I do like how later on too, they come back to him and he was just as kind of weird, right? So there's a plan for sure. And that plan involves Marina Shafir somehow.
Who should have been a part of the Blackpool Combat Club since day one, but
100%,
I digress.
100%, yes.
See, I think whatever he's doing is going to be independent of the Blackpool Combat Club.
I do too. But Jamie was saying she should have been part of the Blackpool Combat Club from the beginning.
Yeah, she should have been. We got him calling out Darby Allin, not for any specific time or place, but
not for any real reason either. You know, it is a
time to talk.
I did see on Twitter during the show, I think it might have been Sean Ross Sapp that said, clearly you're not supposed to know what's going on, but what do you think Mox is talking about that it's not your company anymore? And like every single reply were people talking about an invasion with Shane McMahon, which I don't think is what's going to happen, but that was a very popular theory on the internet.
I saw that a lot too, like incoming Shane McMahon. I have a whole bunch of former Fed people, that'd be interesting. Have Miro be a part of his little group.
I mean, I hope not. That's a classic trope of sorts. It's nothing new, right? You know?
All this time.
But it's also kind of like, do we really need that, right?
I think it's one of those things that would seem kind of cool right at the beginning, but you just couldn't carry long term or really pay it off or make it good. Like it's just best not to do a ex-WWE guys invading kind of thing.
And they've already done similar variants of that throughout the company already. I mean, fuck the Outcasts were the E-Girls, as JB used to call them, right?
Such a great name for them. They should have been the E-Girls.
So that's
still think that to this day. All right. So let's just move on. Right after this, though, gentlemen, we had the Stone Pitbull versus the Hanger. And, yeah, give me some of this. I really enjoyed this match. I mean, it's Japanese strong style. Mm-hmm. So you know Jamie's about it. Gentlemen, what'd you think?
It's a good way to start the show. Really start the show. Mm-hmm. You only had 4 matches tonight. You had a lot of setup. You're preparing for All Out in 10 days, right? Willow chose her stipulation, Chicago death match. No, Chicago street fight.
I wish it was a death match, though. We all wanted the death match.
It's going to be basically a death match, more or less. Let's be real.
But just call it a death match.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I know.
I mean, I'm interested in anything Willow Nightingale is doing, and Statlander as well. Like whatever they have is going to be fantastic. But I wish they would have just like go all in or all out to make it thematic for the pay-per-view. Straight up say we're going to have a death match, the first women's death match in AEW. Even though you've had things that were basically a death match, call it a death match.
Yeah. So
That makes more sense to me.
So Hanger Ishii was good. It was good, but that really wasn't the meat of the meal, Jamie. It was after the match. Oh, this has been good.
Swerve continuously living rent free in Hanger's brain, which is I think is the best. And how they're playing it out is just beautiful. I can't get enough of this. Like, you're not world champion. You're not champion. Like how he just went, you're just a piece of shit. It's like, oh man, like he's just getting after it. Like, you know, I just absolutely love this unhinged variation of Hanger and how ruthlessly cold Swerve was.
I loved and hated this.
Okay.
I loved everything that was said. What I hated was that why was it not hands on sight the second Swerve got in the ring?
Right?
Hanger has been tearing up the locker room, people backstage, solely possessed with beating the shit out of Swerve Strickland, and Swerve just saunters down to the ring, gets right in his face, and Hangman just stares at him, listens to him talk, and then talks back to like.
You know, Austin, we've talked about your logic before, but we really need to circle back to this. I mean, I need to take that logic and just
give me a pull apart, then some promos. Like that was the only thing.
I hear you.
Like I said, it just. I was like, why are you not hitting each other right now? But that being said, like I said, the promo was absolutely delivered. I loved everything that was said. I loved the delivery on both of them. But that was just jarring to me. Was Swerve walking out, getting right in his face with the microphone, and Hanger not just hitting him right in the mouth.
Yeah. Touche. Cage match and that All Out. Let's go.
I'm in on that.
Yeah.
We know what these guys can do with a no limit match. So it's going to take a lot to top 20 seconds in drinking the other person's blood from their hanging body. But I have faith.
Yeah, and that's what a great way to do the next match. It's something because you've already done the death match. I enjoyed the little story nod putting it in too of you've never beat me without someone else's help. Cool, let's get in the cage about it. Like great storytelling. The match is going to be great. Like I said, I loved everything about the segment except for them not fighting.
I hear you, but this is their gold kind of go-to feud, right?
Yeah.
We're going to see this over the next couple years.
Yeah. You can always run back Dusty and Flair all the
100%.
time. You can always run
100%.
I do got to say as well, as much as I have been on record on this show time and time again about how much I hate that you can escape the cage in a cage match, Hanger absolutely needs to win this by escaping the cage.
Fantastic. Victor, how you doing? Thank you for the kind words, Victor. We appreciate you being here, man.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Victor. But yeah, I think to keep the story going, Hanger needs to win by escaping the cage.
You can't. No, in AEW, you can't escape the cage to win. That's one of the core stipulations of an AEW cage match.
I guess I haven't seen a one-on-one cage match in AEW in some time.
I remember the very first cage match they had. It was in Atlanta. It was Cody Rhodes versus I don't remember who, but it's where Cody Rhodes did that backflip and busted his toe in half off the top of the cage. But that was one of the things they kept harking on going into it. Is like you can't escape to win. It's like you have to get a pinfall submission inside the cage, right?
Damn. So they're giving me exactly what I want, but now I don't want it.
Now you don't want it. Jamie, what I want is to see Jamie Hayter on my TV again.
Yeah. the red-haired vixen that she is now, came out. Good pop. I was very excited about that. Like I mean, the pop in Wembley was kind of, oh my god.
Yeah.
But this one was pretty good too. She beats the shit out of Harley Cameron.
Oh,
that,
she
that
looks
was
so good. She
given.
looks so good. Oh.
And then of course it still sets her up with her and Saraya kind of having their little barbs, if you will. Their little, you know, their little thing.
Thank you, Rob Wardlow.
War Daddy.
I gotta say, I enjoy Harley Cameron more and more every time I see her on TV. I think she's just a really good pro wrestling character.
She's not, she's not a throwaway. I mean, she's not one of these forgettable, just another, chicks. I hate to say it like that, but you know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah,
she's
absolutely.
got personality of sorts. She's annoying in the right ways as a heel, right? She can get out there and she can take too when she's in the ring, which is what you want from somebody of her position, right? You want to make Jamie Hayter look great. You gotta have somebody over there that's gonna be able to take that shit. She did a great job because Jamie looked great.
Mm-hmm. She did. I'm excited about the future with her, and I think this is gonna set her up for a little bit, and then she's gonna eventually go for one of the titles.
The title she never lost.
Yeah, she's going after Mariah May.
She's going to go after Mariah. And then with Tony being MIA, which is another thing that I do want to talk about, but we'll get into that. But trying to keep things a little punctual here. Jericho and the boys were talking about how they're going to face Hook. Hi, guys. And how proud he was of Hook for taking his advice and doing the things he needed to do in order to get the win. Is the longest reigning for the world champion at 127 days. And, it was great. But the star is always the same star of every single one of these promos. And that's Brian Keith.
As much as I want to agree with you, I don't think Brian Keith was the star of this promo.
Nah.
It was Big Bill.
It
was Big Bill. Yeah, you're right.
The fact that Renee brought up Big Bill getting cheered so hard in England and him acknowledging it, but then just saying, hey, their interests change like the leaves and we're getting the fall. It's leaf changing. Like, Big Bill is such a good promo. Man, give me Big Bill every week, but stop giving me Jericho and Hook fighting each other. Can we just stop that?
Yeah. Can we cut those out? Can we keep Brian Keith? Can we keep Big Bill? It's,
How about we make those two guys a tag team and get me a title run with those two?
Oh, dude, that would be a badass tag team. Oh.
Hell yeah.
Applewood?
I like it.
Applewood. Solid. Crabwood isn't or the Badwood? No, that was a show on HBO, right? Badwood?
Deadwood, I think was
Deadwood. There it
Not
is.
Badwood.
Yeah, whatever. So then right after that, you go into yet another promo, to your point, and that was one Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and he has denounced his American citizenship. Gentlemen, he is no longer going to be associated with this garbage country. The only thing he will recognize is the most magical place in the world, Plainview, Long Island, New York.
Yeah, someone should get that motherfucker a globe. Does he know where New York is? It's in America.
Not in his America. My America. Sorry.
I mean, denouncing his American citizenship. That was... Because it started off like a typical MJF promo-ish, right? He's got a few tones, and then I go, okay, now I'm paying attention. Let's go. But
yeah, it was.
That wasn't the story of the show. The story was...
I'll say, it was another MJF promo, but then our boy Danny Garcia showed up, and everything was good again.
Dude. Back from
Danny
the
Garcia
dead.
came in like on fire, trying to beat the shit out of him. Then he gets his mic, and that was the part that made me really excited, because he was just like, my goal in life is to ruin your life, like, and all this. And like, well, didn't we just have this, like, literally in the swerve, but like not, like, this is weird. But like trying to go for that second rope pile driver, like that of course that's gonna be in their match. But yeah, so looks like we're gonna get a little MJF Garcia coming up at All Out, gentlemen.
Cool. All's filling out. Like I said, you got 10 days. You gotta book this stuff pretty quick here. So cool.
Yeah, I thought Daniel Garcia's looking a little bit bigger since he had a little bit of time off, which is nice. And then yeah, his promo was great. Like
one of the better ones he's had, because it wasn't, because he's had 2 promos, bad or semi heartfelt, but kind of right. This was good. This was him just like, you know. I like this. I like this Danny.
I loved his line about he said I'm obsessed with beating you up. He's like, my fetish is beating you up, which is hilarious. Then his line about if there's anyone left that still likes you, they're gonna watch me end your career or something like that. And then the cherry on top was him standing on the top rope with MJF halfway up the ramp, chucking the microphone at MJF and it bonking him on the dome.
Dead hitting him.
It was so good.
I mean, it's like I
so hard at that.
I couldn't believe did that. I had to rewind it. I go, he didn't actually. That was real. Yep. Oh shit.
And like Mike's side too, so you got the bop over the PA. It was perfect.
Like he could have made that any better. Like, he could have made that up.
You know, motherfuckers. Motherfuckers are going to practice that down in Florida, and in parts of they're going to be practicing that. All right, you stand there.
After that, you had the All-Star 8-man tag team match. That was fine, whatever. The Agglomeration one. Cool.
Yeah.
2 teams just keep going after. Security comes to break it up. Strong poses. So Strong looks like he's going to be the next guy going for the FTW championship.
Sure.
I think
it's not
they
Jericho.
That for All Out? Yeah, sorry, All Out, I think.
Probably
hasn't been officially announced. But...
I do want to say really quick, I did not like the finish of this match.
Oh, me either.
Like if you didn't see it, Hook gets the red rum on Roddy. Roddy won. Foley has a grip on the ropes, which should be a break of the hold anyway, but then he pulls him back. Roddy's got his foot under the ropes while he's tapping out, and that's just the end of the match. I would have liked to see Roddy pull the old Ric Flair did this against Jericho back in the day, where Jericho had him the walls Jericho. Flair grabbed the ropes with one hand, then tapped with the other, so Jericho thought he won and released the hold. Then Flair rolled him up. I would have liked to see Roddy do something like that. It was just kind of weird, like the foot under the ropes, then tapping out to, and that just being the end of the match.
Dude, that'd been great. That'd been a much better finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were very keen on showing that his foot was in the ropes, so 100% this is going to happen at All Out.
Storytelling. So Mercedes was celebrating, and honestly, this was very enjoyable for me. And I'll let you guys talk about it, but Private Party's trying to get in there, and then Isaiah Cassidy comes up and is like, "Hey, I know you're single because of that whole debacle with that dumbass reporter trying to ask her about her divorce," which, like, don't do that. Don't.
Yeah, she came out and was very open about it for a reason, so that we could move on. And here's this motherfucker, and then, hey, let's talk about your divorce.
But like, so he's trying to talk to her, and she pushes him back. Then here comes the walking meme himself, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, and he comes in, and she goes, "Oh, Okada-san, how do you say goodbye, bitch?" in Japanese, and it's sayonara, bitches. Just had him walk off, and then he's all just doing the dance. I'm like, oh my god. I need more Okada in my life. This version of Okada might be the best.
Rob said earlier in chat, who would have thought that? Like, but this Okada adjusting to American TV,
he's so good at it.
Unbelievable.
So good at it.
Unbelievably good. And this is good for Mercedes. This is the good stuff for Mercedes. This is what we want to see. You're building this like pretentious heel character. Cool. Do this sort of shit. A connector to the elite. Do more of the connecting to the elite.
After that, you had Mariah May coming out under a black silk robe.
Not for long.
Yeah, and she's, the crowd was actually, behind her a little bit. And then I thought she did a great job of healing it up really quick, getting that heat. She's awesome with that. And then I don't know about you, but this is the first time I noticed in her Titantron, because I think it's the first time I noticed it, like her entrance video package has like little arrows like falling down like the Matrix. It's the first time I ever noticed it. Like there's a whole bunch of them, so it kind of looks like a little Matrix behind it. So
haven't
white with like red arrows falling down behind, so it's very Matrix.
I've never noticed that before.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
I caught it like, ooh, the cinephile in me, of course, I really appreciate it. But I think the most important thing we got out of this was Mariah May definitely is not shy about her body, and she showed everybody off.
She looked good.
A little scantily cladness, not like super like attitude era, but like respectable but gorgeous type thing with her belt on. So, yeah, gentlemen, what did you guys think of her promo?
It was a little cheap heat, but cheap heat's good at times, especially because you don't seem to have anything lined up for her currently. I don't think she's going to be doing anything at the pay-per-view other than just being there, right? She might make an appearance or something, but she doesn't seem to. You don't need to have every belt on the match. You don't need to have every belt online, right? So,
yeah.
I think that the eventuality is, of course, we talked about this, is going to be Jamie Hayter probably, right? So, cool. Let her come out. Give her plenty of face time. I'm good with it all.
Yeah, I would assume we're not getting either women's title defended at All Out, and we're going to get Willow and Stat, and then Hayter and Saraya. So yeah, this was trot your new women's champion out, get a nice little heel promo, send her to the back, and call it a day. Fine little segment.
I'm a fan. Jamie is a fan. Speaking of fandom, this is kind of goes into what we were talking about earlier. The Grizzled Young Veterans. They showed a little quick video package of them meeting the Bucks, and then them kind of giving to the Bucks, in which Matthew Jackson was like, "Oh, that's a great first impression, pricks," and just walks off. And I thought that was like the best part of that whole part. Like I loved it so much. Because they hit their tagline of grit your teeth, whatevs. But like the fact he's like, okay, that's a way to make an impression, pricks. That just walks off. I'm like, that's perfect. That's so perfect.
I liked that. I wish they wouldn't have run from that directly into another pre-tape with Grizzled Young Vets, where they were talking about a matchup.
Yeah.
One, because they're like, whichever team's gonna show up, while the graphic pops up underneath that they're facing the Outrunners. Like you couldn't have just told them that ahead of time. But then them just going right to their catchphrase like 30 seconds after you just heard it in the first pre-tape. It was a little weird.
And again, I'm going to stick by my argument earlier. These guys aren't going to revolutionize. They're not going to be the Lucha Bros where, they win the title like at All Out when we saw them win the title in the ladder match and the entire place lost their shit. Like we were dancing in the aisles and hugging people we never met before, and that's not a euphemism. That actually happened, right? These guys aren't going to be that. They don't need to be. They need to just be a cohesive tag team to make the tag team division a tag team division. So, cool.
Speaking of somebody who might need their own division, Ricochet made his debut against the comparable Will Ospreay Jr., Kyle Fletcher. Gentlemen.
From a night that was a lot of promos and setup, I'm so glad we got this match on TV.
This match was great.
So good.
Yeah. I mean, this match was exactly what you would want and expect when you saw them advertise Ricochet versus Kyle Fletcher.
I just want to say a quick word about how amazingly good Kyle Fletcher is becoming. I mean, Ospreay Jr., you just said it, right? But we've used that line a lot, right? He's not exactly like Ospreay, but man, he is going in such the right direction. he's the perfect complement to this match for Ricochet's first match. I loved it.
I do gotta say, and most likely we'll get something equally good at All Out. I wish they would have saved this for the pay-per-view. I would like to see Ricochet and Kyle Fletcher on pay-per-view. My concern with Kyle Fletcher is they're not sure what to really do with him right now, because you had during the MJF Ospreay feud, you had him super babyfacing with his boy Ospreay. And then it turned him cutting kind of a heelish promo on how he's going after Ricochet. It seems like Kyle Fletcher is very much that plug and play when you need someone to go out there and have a banger of the match with anyone on the roster. And I would like to see them starting to give a little more direction. So I would like to see this be a pay-per-view match. Still put Ricochet over. Obviously, he's the new guy. It's fucking Ricochet. Like, Kyle Fletcher can lose Ricochet. It's fine. I would like to see this done it All Out with a little bit more time.
So you're saying maybe do a little bit of either go full in on the Don Callis family shtick or the other way. Make it should have get off the pot one way or the other.
Yeah, just pick something, because I want to get behind Kyle Fletcher, but like you're not really giving me a TV reason to, because you just keep kind of bouncing him around. Although, I mean, I'm still not sad about seeing him wrestle on TV any damn week. So
well, that's true.
That's fair.
JB, is this the Ricochet you want to see in AEW? I mean, it's one match, so I mean, yes, but still.
I want Prince Puma. I won't get it, but it's fine. No, this is great. He delivered. He did all of his things, you know, like, and he did a lot more than what he was doing in the Fed, which he even talked about, like, you know, the chains are off a little bit. He gets to do things that he's been wanting to do for a while, which I think was a nice little nod to he's free.
Yeah.
And dude, yeah, no, this is what I expect. I was in jest saying this isn't what I wanted, but no, this is 100% what I want. And the fact that here in probably the next under 6 months, I'm going to get him and Ospreay going at it again. Yeah.
Well, you almost had a showdown tonight between the two. Almost.
I know. It's a segue.
And it was foiled at last second in the greatest way possible.
Oh,
with the Poison Rana
on the stage.
And not only that, but Pac's promo after that was phenomenal as well.
I welcome you to AEW.
But this one's mine.
Yeah, now get in the back of the line, because he belongs to me.
God, Pac is so underratedly good. Oh my God. Which made you just, at that moment, you were like, oh yeah, Pac's got a title match in 10 days. I totally forgot about it. So,
I forgot.
On top of everything, you get Pac and Ospreay. Let's go. Ospreay?
So, I would assume we're getting a Ricochet match at All Out.
Yeah.
We've tentatively got him with somewhat involved with the Callis family, or opposite the Callis family.
Jamie,
okay, I see the
Jamie just perked up right there, man. He realized what strings you're connecting, but please finish connecting those strings.
I really hope. I don't know if he's still over in Japan or if he's making it back soon, but give me Ricochet and Takeshita at All Out.
It's funny you should say that, Jamie. Why is it funny he should say that?
Really funny you say that, because they announced that Takeshita will be having his first match back after the G1 on Rampage.
There we go.
So, give me Takeshita Ricochet. Jesus Christ.
It's on.
Yeah.
Lord, whatever I've done for you to treat me so good, like, just let me know. I'll continue doing these things. Yeah, God's being good to us. The wrestling gods have been good. Bobby the Brain Heenan's taking care of us. All right, so then you had another little lesson in humility from Moxley and now Marina Shafir. We already talked about that. The shoed Marina Shafir, by the way. I thought that was a nice touch, because she always wrestles without shoes. I guess maybe she's going back to shoes. I don't know. So that was weird. And then Danielson addressed his future. And He's gonna keep going. He's gonna just keep going, and then when he loses the title, then he's not gonna become a full-time wrestler. He didn't say retire.
He
He did not use the
100%
R
was
word.
very smart in how he said that, right? He
Full-time
pulled the whole
wrestler.
Wolf of Wall Street thing first of all, right? Time for me to go home, but not yet, right? You know, he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving. But yes, you're right, Jamie. He 100% said that once he loses, he'll no longer be a full-time wrestler. So he 100% just walk that line. Walk it.
I liked it.
Oh, I absolutely loved it. We've talked about before. It's always better when there's stakes. And now every time he defends that title, you've got to wonder, is this the last time we see the American Dragon for a while?
And one of my favorite things we don't see happen, we see variants of it, but not like this, right? Well, we got a locker room full of guys. We got pay-per-view in 10 days. Who wants a shot? First come, first serve. Dude, I love that. I love the ballsiness. It fits this American Dragon persona so great, right? I don't give a fuck. First come, first serve. Who wants it? You? You're the first one out the door? Let's go. I love it.
And
Who
like I
answers
was
the
saying,
bell?
leading up to All In, Danielson had to win the title because I just want, it won't be super long, but I just want a run of him just wrestling everybody.
Yep. Well, we're going to get it because we got plenty of. We are all assuming that Tacoma Wrestle Dream is going to be the end, right? He's going to drop it there. That's what his assumption is. But before then, you've got Grand Slam, you've got All Out, you've got Full Gear, right? Plus
I was
random
thinking that-
Wednesdays.
I was thinking that beforehand. I think he carries that belt until January
Okay.
when they have nights. It was what, night 1 or 2 of Wrestle Kingdom is the co-branded pay-per-view.
Night 2
I think he
is
dropped it
yeah.
there.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be perfect. One last time in Japan.
So anyway,
I
so
dig
he
it.
does the whole first come first serve, Jamie. Sorry there.
Yes, and it gets answered by none other than the scapegoat, Jungle Man, Jack Perry. And again, this Jack Perry, since he's been back, has been excellent. I got nothing bad to say. First off, he used real glass at All In, and I popped so hard for that.
Dude.
I even sent you guys a message. Like,
Where
real
you
glass.
did, yeah, Wembley popped so hard. Wembley took that real glass chant into a fuck CM Punk chant. This is in the middle of a Darby Allin match, right? You know, they're just like, fuck it.
Yeah, I love this. One, just Jack Perry has been doing it for me for a long time. Like, since he came back, he's been one of their better heel characters. I like this just for the principle of the TNT champion being like, yeah, I'll challenge for the heavyweight title. Like, I got the next best title. I'm the next guy up. Like, it's something you don't see a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I like that little aspect of it as well.
I mean, it's a concept that in other prize fighting is the norm, but in pro wrestling, not so much, right?
Yeah. And it also, just from a storyline point, there's not a lot of opportunities right now where you can really have Jack Perry lose, but this is absolutely one of them. You get to see your heel kind of get his a little bit, which you haven't got to see yet.
Yeah, good point.
Although if he did retire Bryan Danielson, it'd be the funniest thing ever. People would be so mad.
I'd be so pissed. I would be one of the most pissed people. I'm like, really? And then now Jack Perry's like a double champ right now? No.
I'm gonna take your prediction about going into, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, night 2 of the whatever it is over in Japan, right? Okada's the one who takes it off of him.
I could see that.
I can see that. I could see one Kenneth Omega, who they say is rumored to be close to being back.
Oh, is he? So the surgery's one. Okay, because I know that like That's surgeries he had. He had to have multiple of them, and it's one of those things where basically your insides are hamburger, and they're trying to stitch it all together, to make it into a solid thing again. So sometimes you can knock it out. Sometimes you need to do a lot more surgeries. So that's good to know that he's rumored to be. Ooh.
Could be Okada. Could be Omega if he's ready to go. Could
Ospreay.
be the third big O. A lot of O's.
I mean,
pro wrestling right
Ospreay for sure.
Yeah, it could be Ospreay.
They've got a good story They got a good storyline in there for Ospreay to be the one to end it. Honestly, this whole Tiger Drivers shtick, and everything, and the do it, and
that's going back to what I was saying about just the stakes of this run. Whoever it's going to be when it happens, you've got options these other ones along the way where you think he might lose this one. I'm locked in, man. This is going to be a fun title run.
Oh, but this is just a company that does pay-per-views.
No, they're a t-shirt company, remember?
T-shirt company.
T-shirt company. Touche.
Yes. Well, T-shirt company.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
We talked a lot of wrestling.
A lot of football. Again, for anybody listening, if you want to join us in, we still got some spots open. Total Spotfest Fantasy Football League. We're going to be doing draft on Tuesday night. We'll get the deets figured out here shortly. But if you want to get in, just hit us up on Twitter, DM at Total Spotfest. We are definitely, there's no cost to entry. There are going to be a couple prizes, though, some different things that we've got devised, potentially. Do you want to share one of those, Jamie?
I do. I really do. So this beautiful bad boy that I've held multiple times, and is currently a part of the FWO, you possibly could have a chance to win this very belt off of me, off of Austin, maybe Megan, one of us three.
Dude, I'm right the fuck here.
That's the best joke I've heard all day. But what we were thinking is, I'll just throw this prop bet out now. Austin knows what he's talking about with fantasy football. He went to all championships last year. I've been to all championships over the past 3 years. We talk a lot of shit about how much we know about the fantasy footballs. So we're going to lay this gauntlet down. You beat me in the regular season or playoffs. You beat him in the regular season or playoffs. You'll be officially invited to the pay-per-view picks, and you will be eligible to win this very belt.
Bruh. That doesn't make you want to join the league. I don't know what will.
Stakes, man. You gotta have stakes.
Honestly, what person listens to this show doesn't want to take something away from me? Let's just be real. Something to shut me up.
Temporarily shut you up. So again, if you want to get in, right now it's Wednesday, August 28th. On the 3rd of September, we will be doing our picks. Hit us up before then if you want to get in. We said we got a few spots still open. We definitely have some people that we can always fill up to get a bigger roster if we need to, but we want to give it up to you, the listeners and the viewers. So if you want to join us for fantasy football, please hit us up on Total Spotfest, at Total Spotfest, on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it these days. That's the best way to get a hold of us. And Jamie, you're going to be defending that in about 10 days. So don't get too comfortable with that belt on your shoulder. All right?
That's what I said. 10 days. I got this for at least 10 more days.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Thank you for everybody who listened, especially in this extra long night. We went a little deep tonight, and that's okay. We love wrestling. We love fantasy football. Hey, That's the way it's going to be. So
And
thank
you
you
can
for
be part
watching.
of both of them with us.
There's not a downside here. Okay.
No.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. As I said, we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Also, look for us on Tuesday evening. If you subscribe, hit the little bell icon. You can know when we go live, but we're going to be going live with the draft. So join us Tuesday. If not, come back here Wednesday night. Jamie, that's all I got. Take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 3 words for you. Russell Wilson? Really?
This will be less than the first time Jimmy's won that belt and not used the champ is here variant. Just throwing that out there. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
4.
4's the bet. 4's the bet.
Later.